We are alive, and I'm having an issue right now, so give me a second here. I felt like I was hearing a little feedback. That's not good. We have feedback. Hang on. What a way to start off a show, right?
It's like television, brother.
Come on, man. It's not supposed to be like
I'm
this.
still trying to post a link to X right now.
We'll get there.
I'm going to kill that for a second. All right, everybody. How are you? Nurse came in the studio. Mark Mazzamini over there.
What's going on?
Good to see everybody. Just give us a second here. I'm going to get started. I forgot to, you know what it was? I forgot to mute that chat. But I'm going to pull the chat back up for everybody. Here we go. Now I can bring the screen over. Look at that.
There we go.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Now we're ready to rock.
Now we got it. Can you see the live chat? Perfect.
Yep.
Well, this is cool.
Yes, it is.
Welcome in to LTL Studios, Kim.
First time here, long time listener. Can't even handle it.
Love it. Mark's been here many times.
5 or 4 or 5,
Yeah, it's like 4 or
6
5
times or something. Yeah.
So we're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk a little situations that are going on in Massachusetts.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, I want to start off is how did you get involved in this, and how did you start a channel? And tell us, Kim, how did this all unfold?
Let me tell you a little bit about me. So interesting that you asked this, because I told my people at my live event on Saturday, I just did a little how did we become Nurse Kim? And I was basically, guys, just covering the Maya Kowalski case down in Florida. It was a civil suit regarding a hospital kind of medically kidnapping a small child, Maya Kowalski, and her family. They lost custody. It was an accusation of Munchausen by proxy, and her mother ended up ending her own life because the hospital would not give their child back to them. It was just devastating. So many years later, they got to the civil suit. They won. It was incredible. And that's where I kind of really got into this. Then I covered locally of New Hampshire. I did the Harmony Montgomery trial. And then there was a kind of lull. And I said, what's going on in Canton? Because it was coming in hot. And I went down a turtle hole, not a rabbit hole, a turtle hole.
Accurate.
And
Pretty accurate, yeah.
I said, it didn't make sense to me, because I remember when it first happened, right, Mazza and Bri? I remembered thinking to myself, what a terrible accident. Like what a horrific accident. And it was only, Karen was only charged with manslaughter at that time.
Right. And
I said, those injuries don't really equate in my head to being a vehicle related injuries. And the more that came out, the deeper I got. And it has never made sense to myself or any other medical professional that I've ever spoken to that Officer John O'Keefe's injuries are not even consistent with. It's never have I ever seen anything like that, if you were to equate the two. So then the more I got into it, and voila, I'm here. LTL Studios.
Good. You made it.
No, it's awesome. Welcome in, and it's awesome to have you here. And it's funny that you said that, because I think for me, looking back is like, how did I get into this? I remember reading through the PCA on a live, going through it, and I'm like, I don't know, something seems kind of weird about this,
Yeah.
And then I was like, I saw pictures of John's injuries for the first time, and I went, wait a minute, that doesn't look like someone backed up over him and took off. And then I'm like, oh, and they had a dog in the house. And I'm like, there you go right there. I mean, and then it just started adding up and put me down a turtle hole. And that's how I came on to Aiden. And I think probably after about 3 or 4 weeks, I had him on the show for the first time. And I was still very green to the case. I was still very, very green to the case. And I said, can you just come on and explain it to us? And he goes, I would love to. And it just worked out really well. And he came on and gave us like the 101 on the whole case. And after that live, it was like, this is something's not right. Yeah. And then I remember like immediately, it was either the next day or the day after, I went down to 34 Fairview and actually did a live down there and shot video. And I'm like, there's no fucking way that what they're saying, 62 feet, at 24.2 miles, or 24.7 or 24.2.
24.2.
2.
Yep.
I'm like, there's no way, because have you ever been down there?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been down
So
there.
when you stand there, right, and you're looking at the house, and the house is to the left, the flagpole, and they got that utility box that's there. It's funny because when you see like straight photos of it, you can't see the curve, and you can't see the grade. You can't see the grade.
Mhm.
But when you're standing there and the house is to the left and you're looking, you're like, there's like a 30% incline, and there's like a curve. And I'm like,
gosh.
she must, I'm thinking like, okay, if Karen Reed did this, she must have been one hell of a NASCAR driver, because there's elements, there's snow, there's a curve, there's, and then when I saw Aiden's video when he backed up, I was like, nah, there's no fucking way she did this.
No chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
There's no way.
Even if she did she get to that speed? Not at all.
No.
Even if she did get to that speed, does the arm injuries occur because of shattered taillight? Not likely.
Right.
It's logic. And some people think they have logic out there. They don't. When you look at it with actual logic, you can pretty much decipher that. Pretty much impossible that John O'Keefe was hit by a vehicle, Lexus driving in reverse. That is for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy. Let me get to this real quick.
Sure.
Romney, $9.99. It says, Nurse Kim is the absolute best. And she is the absolute best. And Mark's fucking great too. I love Mark.
Thank you.
Him and I have really cultivated a good friendship through all of this.
Absolutely,
so it's been a champion of champions. Gen X says a turtle hole instead of a rabbit hole. He likes that, or she likes that, either or. I want to let everybody know this evening, 25% of all donations will be donated back to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. So if one of my moderators are in the chat, if you could so kindly keep track of the donations, that would be great. And I had Crystal Pond that became a new member at the beginning of the show. So that's $5. Karen Reed is innocent. We're going to add another $5. Kim Babalui, great name, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty
We'll
nice
add another $5. D, another 5. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20. And then we have the Romney $10.90, the $10 super chat. So that's $30 to kick us off. And what I'm going to do as a benefit, anybody that enters tonight or super chats or gives a donation, I'm going to kindly, and it's a no purchase necessary, we're going to put you in for a running for a free Karen Reed hat. And we will do a race at the end for you to win this hat. But you have to stick around for the end of the live. D Brown, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Incredible. So Kim, so you kind of go down the turtle hole on all of this.
Yes.
You were more of a fan in person that of interest, kind of researching this. You didn't have a channel at this time. You were really watching all the different lives.
Just watching all the lives. I had my TikTok.
Okay.
And I started posting on TikTok when I got a little bit more comfortable with the information, guys. Right. So I was like, just for myself, I needed to look at the documents, the court documents, right? Because I was taking what Turtle Boy had said, and then I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And then I would read the filings, and I said, oh, we have Houston, we have a problem. And then when we watched pretrial, guys, like,
right.
I mean, holy guacamole. We were on another planet. We were ET phone homing, and we didn't know how to find our way back. I never thought during pretrial, like literally, guys, that Judge Cannoni could allow it to go to. I was like, it's not. It's getting dismissed. Like, this is insanity. And I just realized that we could go even more insane, right? Like, there is no bottom in the Commonwealth, right? They will just continue to go lower and lower. And now we have exactly zero faith in at least Norfolk County, right? Like in their superior court, I am ashamed,
Sure.
So
it should be. We should all be, right? Why not? They've given us reason to.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like, watching those pretrial hearings of just all the evidence that Cannoni wanted to keep out, not hearing about like literally the FBI investigation was taboo, like wasn't happening. Yeah. But then when the letters broke, and I love that live with the court hearing with Yannetti and Karen there, and that famous line, "We have the letters and we're using them. The genie cannot be put back in the bottle."
Yeah.
It's just
Classic
the sickest moment. Like,
Yeah.
just like, yeah, guess what? And then it was funny because then it comes up during trial. Nagel Nagel says FBI, and then it's just just shut down. And I'm like, jury, listen.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Write it down.
But they had no context to it because all of that was left out. So they're like, FBI. So it just went right over their head, you know? And I'm like thinking, if that FBI investigation, if that FBI information was in there, I think that would have 1000% sealed everything, because then you have ARCA, but they're not allowed to come up and say, well, we were hired by the FBI. We were an independent investigation. Well, we have no context to who hired them. We have no context.
Well, and if you listen to, like, so I went through Turtle Boy's interviews with the jurors, right? And I had like reaction to them. And it was absolutely like I passed away 3 times. Like as I was reviewing it, to hear where everybody's like mind was, and that they believed that ARCA was insurance, guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, no, please make it stop. But this was such invaluable information, though, right?
It was
for retrial, if it gets there. But to really take all of that information, guys, and say, okay, if they don't know the backstory, and we had a hard time, right? Like in the beginning, when you first were getting into the case,
you're like
trying to figure out who's who. There's a lot. There is a lot going on. But if you are able to say that ARCA is FBI, which you need to, and Judge Cannoni needs to allow it.
Yeah.
Why? I say this, boys. It is because if Jennifer McCabe and anybody else of the witnesses are allowed to say Turtle Boy's name, which is an active investigation, and there has been no convictions, then there needs to be what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And we are going to, if his name and witness intimidation is allowed to be brought up, then so hear me, we will say the FBI was hired.
That's right.
Well, hired the ARCA guys. I just think that it needs to be, absolutely hammered home to Judge Cannoni in pretrial, getting ready for the next trial.
Right.
I'm going to go around the table here.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask you both a question. What is something, if we go possibly into this retrial, that you would like the defense to do? What's one thing that you felt that could have been a key element that you feel was left out? And listen, there's no wrong or right answer to this. Okay,
I'll start off with the alcohol.
I know mine.
Yeah, I'll start off with the alcohol level. I think that they need to go more into that next time around. I think that was kind of left on the table, and I think the jury was kind of left to their own speculation on that. I think that they need to do. I actually think to see if McCarthy's, the way they're kind of biting back right now in a civil suit is actually a positive thing, because it tells me that, the defense can probably coordinate with them, try to get some information to kind of prove in the next trial that, hey, look, how many drinks was she served? How many of those drinks were alcoholic? Of those drinks that she was served, how many of those drinks that were alcoholic did she drink from, and how much of each glass? Those are things that need to be shown. What kind of security footage do they have at the Waterfall or CF McCarthy's that show how much she drank? Is there any footage of her walking out of the building that maybe we haven't seen before that show her walking in a straight line? Basically, what I mean by that is she doesn't look like she's drunk at all. Those are things I thought that they could have honed in more on. And I think that they need to do that next time around as well. And I think they will. I think a big thing, too, is with the Supreme Court here appeal, hopefully that they can kick that back into Auntie Bev's court of law and have her to basically vet out the jury. Hopefully counts 1 and 3 are out the door, and all they have to focus on is count 2, and that will save them a lot of heartache and trouble right now. But the defense is definitely preparing for a huge fight, and they're ready to wait. This isn't World War III. This is World War IV now.
Yeah.
Love that, Mazza. So mine is, I'm on the hill and I can't stop, won't stop. It is key cycles. It is that Toyota tech stream data, because Trooper Paul is not, in my opinion,
which is rumor is he's not being called back.
Correct.
I heard that, yeah.
Correct. That is what I heard too. And that is big doings. Okay. Yeah. So, however, he is the one who did those reports. That
of course,
he created those reports. And what I'm going to say is, from the juror interviews from Turtle Boy, they believed it. They believed it because they were having faith in the Commonwealth and faith in Mass State Police, like, normal citizens, or we try to, right? However, it was interpreted inappropriately, in my opinion. Why? Because he had never, ever used or interpreted the Toyota tech stream data before Karen Reed or after Karen Reed. Right. Additionally, he did not request the Toyota tech stream until February of 2023. Okay. His entire crash recreation was done in February of 2022. So he threw a Hail Mary, right? Last 5 seconds on the play, knew that the damn federal investigation was opened in the fall of, or the winter of 22. And they said, shit. And then they requested that and manipulated the data in order for them to say, this is where it fits. This is the puzzle piece. Now, do I think he did it nefariously? I don't think so. I don't think the kid's actually that smart to do it nefariously. But I think that I believe that when he found that one, piece, that chunk, that 5 seconds, you're telling me that this incident that allegedly mortally wounded Officer John O'Keefe occurred in a 5-second window.
No.
Okay. No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
No.
And here's the thing, guys, is that it wasn't like there was no, in my opinion, pushback from the defense really on that specifics. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really feel them going into
I don't know if
them.
that's the verified account, but look just what came up in the chat.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Could be.
Could be.
So let me get to this really quick. Sorry to cut you off, Kim. Nicole, and I love this because this is the point I'm going to go on. This is my point. She said more visuals, more maps, and connections. So we're going to add $2 to. We're going to add $2 to the total. So we should be at like 62. Then we have a chat from Karen Reed. Says, thank you for everything, my friend. I don't know if that is the verified Karen Reed account. I know that she's been in chats before. Hello, if that's you, Karen, by the way. Thank you for watching. Because I was at the stand. All right, so it's not Karen, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, I was like, Karen.
But I do know that Karen has been in chats before. But I appreciate it. Thank you. And you got to cut the room is now freaking out.
Yeah, right. Everyone's like, it's Karen. It's Karen.
It's
Karen. It's like everyone.
But Karen does watch the show, so yeah, I think it's not Karen. But but thank you. I appreciate that. Being transparent.
But if you are listening, Karen,
yes, Karen,
we love you.
We do love
for you, and this chat loves you.
So we should be at $64 right now. We're going to take 25% of that and kick it back to the defense.
That's
so
awesome.
my point here is. I would have liked, and this is what I thought. I thought when Arca was going to get up there, I'm like, that's it. Popping popcorn, getting my soda ready, sitting down, doing one of these. And I'm like, all right, baby, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, there's no fucking demonstration.
Yeah.
How's the jury going to visually put this together?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it was, and I'm going, I'm doing a live before that, and I'm on their YouTube and I'm on their website, and I'm like, look at these recreations. They're going to fucking nail this down, and Trooper Paul's going to look like an asshole. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, the information's there, but how we all are these days, we're all very visual creatures.
Right. Yeah.
That's how we all learn.
Right.
I think back in the day before technologies got to where it was, pre-internet, people learn from books. You learn from a chalkboard, a demonstration, or you went out and you did something where you had to change a tire. Your dad took you out and showed you how to change a tire.
Sure.
Yep.
Now we learn very visual through the internet and through storyboards or videos or whatever it may be. And I'm going, oh shit, that's something I would like to see.
Yeah.
And I actually think it would be great if they took Trooper Paul's interpretation and showed that, how preposterous it was, the pirouette. And then and then show the actual recreation of what there's no way this possibly happened. There
were some issues with the first trial, and that was the courtroom and how small the screen was. I know when we all sat,
it was bad. You couldn't see shit.
You couldn't see anything.
It's about the size of that TV right there.
It was actually even worse for John's family. They couldn't even see. They have to look over just to see it. But even for me at an angle, trying to see like Lally one day was doing a direct examination of Tully, and he had all the maps up there, and it's like I can barely even follow along with this thing. So I wonder if that's by design too. They put it in the
I'm
smallest,
sure.
oldest, least favorable courtroom possible. It's pretty bad. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I just want to let everybody know that 25% of all the donations tonight will be kicked back to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. If you do super chat or send a donation tonight, I'm going to enter you in, and I'm just going to be kindness of my heart, enter you in to win a free Karen Reed hat. You just have to be here at the end of the live for the drawing, and we will do that. So Nicole, $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Says, I can see they thought insurance. They kept saying agency. And I was watching while saying like, what the fuck? And screaming through my earpods, free Karen Reed. Okay, Nurse Kim. Yeah, that was like the whole thing that I think the jury thought that it was like, someone was saying in the chat, like Turtle Boy hired Arca.
Yeah,
that like it was like the rumor out there or something.
One of the jury members said that. They thought the Turtle Boy hired Arca or something like that. How they got that news, I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of
I think a lot of shit just gets thrown out there too to kind of throw everybody off too.
So. Well, and that was another wild thing for us to hear, guys, right?
Yeah.
Was to hear what the jury was speculating and kind of making up their own narrative.
Right.
And not going with the Commonwealth theory, right? Like they weren't saying, okay, so I'm not all in on the defense.
Right.
I'm not all in on the Commonwealth. So we're going to make our own.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately, babes, anyone who's ever been on a jury, okay, Nurse Kim's looking at you. I'm going to need you to know that's reasonable doubt, babes.
That's right.
If you're making up in your brain what you think was a real possibility of what happened, then the Commonwealth didn't tell you and didn't do their job.
Right.
So that is, ergo, Karen Reed is innocent.
That's right. Exactly.
I agree. Mimi, thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal. And then John Varney just came through with a $50 cash a Venmo. So I appreciate that. So we'll add $75 to the total. Thank you so much. And then we have Bodega Lady that came a new member. So we'll add another $5. So that's what, 25. That's $80 to the rolling total. If one of my my moderators can grab that, or I know Sophie's modding too. So I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
just wanted to jump in on that.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
You have an old courtroom. It's an old building, right? It's from the 1800s. This building. The way the court is functioning and operating, with the exception of maybe the fan, which is some kind of semblance of modern technology.
Yeah.
The only fan.
The only fan.
50 years ago.
Right.
And then you got the screen, the little projector screen they had hooked up in there. Other than that, there was almost no technology. This jury had no transcripts.
Yeah.
No audio recording.
It's true.
Nothing to go off of whatsoever. Nothing to go back, review. No video, no audio, no transcripts, nothing. Notebooks that were left behind at the end of the day in the hands of, I mean, we're free to speculate on it because we're left to speculate on it. What happened to those notebooks? Were they prying into those notebooks? You have at least 2 jurors, I believe, that were dismissed. That were both basically in the.
That was interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Right when we were getting to
to
go deliberate this, 2 jurors all of a sudden just get mysteriously dismissed in the middle of all of that.
I believe I was on your show with Jess Machado right in the middle of that time that juror. I think it was right after that juror got dismissed, and I sat in that courtroom. And I think Jess used to call her Mima or Mama or something like that.
Mima, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So I remember being in the courtroom that day in June. And when you're looking over and you see this one particular woman and you just see the way she's looking the whole time, it's like, oh, she's definitely a pro Karen Reed, not guilty vote all the way. I mean, you just could tell. The other people.
Oh, Mama.
Yeah.
Mama.
Was it Mama?
Yeah. Mama.
Mama. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was. I looked at her. I'm like, oh, she's a pro Karen Reed vote. Actually, I think I don't know what shows I was on at the time, but I said like I felt pretty good about the jury at the time. And then all of a sudden you find out what? There's a juror that's dismissed. And Jess said to me on your show, I recall, she goes, I know exactly who you're talking about. And they got her right out of there. They put her in the bag and zipped her up and took her out the back door and got her out of there. Basically.
Was that the one that was caught on camera?
No.
This was one caught on camera.
No.
That they shut the whole camera.
That was that other lady you're thinking of. Yeah, but it was a different lady. She may have been pro Karen Reed, but there was another woman. All I can tell you is she was in the front row. She was to the left, probably about 3 or 4 seats in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's tough to remember these people now, but And the thing is, you can't help but look at the jury when you're sitting in that seat, because Judge Cannoni's like in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
The witness stand where like Tully and all the people are here. Then the jury's like here. And so when you see like Alan Jackson or what's the guy's name? Lally.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm forgetting his name now. That's great. That's a blessing. That's awesome. Finally, the day
Rumor
has
is-
come. Yeah.
And then they added the new
Right.
the mob guy.
Right,
We got
yeah.
the new mob guy.
Right. So you're sitting here. Alan Jackson is doing his cross here.
Brennan.
Lally is doing his direct here. And you just can't help but make eye contact with the jury throughout the day. All of a sudden, you're looking over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
perfect views of the jury
Yeah.
in there.
Oh gosh, you
Because
guys.
where we were, that fucking courtroom was so tiny. It was so weird.
Yeah.
And literally, Kim, you felt like this is the space that, like how you and Maz had that space between.
Yep.
That's the space that you had between Karen's side and the O'Keefe side. It was
Yeah.
literally right there.
Yeah.
I literally could, because I sat in the aisle seat
Yeah.
when I went in. Will sat next to me, and we were literally like, talking a little bit, trying not to be too loud and just kind of throwing stuff back and forth. And literally, I could just reach out and grab
My
if I wanted to
gosh.
the guy on their side. It was so
Oh, yeah.
weird.
It's crazy.
And then where they, like Maz was saying, where they had the TV position, which it was so far back
yeah.
from where the jury
Oh,
was. And I even remember like Paul O'Keefe at points, and you can go back and watch. He's literally looking at the TV like
I
this.
remember. I
Yeah.
literally
It's insane.
remember being like,
Oh,
oh,
it's
Like,
crazy.
let's make the trial
Oh.
fair. Let's
Yeah.
make the
Yeah.
trial fair for both
Yeah.
sides.
yeah.
Let's get good visuals for the jury.
Sure.
No, we're gonna tuck it way off to the back. And I could even see like jurors like squinting and looking, and I'm like, oh man, this is a disaster.
Now, when you walk down the hallway in that courthouse, when we go up to that second floor,
Mhm.
and you're walking down the hallway,
Mhm.
to your right, there's a wide open courtroom that you can look right into. And this courtroom is huge. I don't know what courtroom it is specifically, but it is probably 5 or 6 times the size of the one that we're walking down at the end of the hallway
Mhm.
into. And you figure when you're looking at all the cases that are taking place in this court throughout the day, you probably don't know what these cases are because they're not being covered by the media. The case that is being
Yeah.
covered by the media
No, yeah.
is the Karen
Mhm.
Reed case. You'd think that courthouse and that judge would do everything they could to ensure that case was put in a sizable courtroom, but they did not want that because
Yeah.
why? Because of the pro Karen Reed crowd.
Well, yeah. If it was upstairs in the
Right.
large courtroom, it would have been
Right.
all
Oh,
pro
Yeah.
Karen Reed.
Yeah.
So let's shrink the courtroom down. And then it was funny when they had Karen come back in for pretrial hearings. They made the fucking courtroom even smaller.
Yeah,
It's
that's crazy.
Tiny, tiny.
Who would have thought that there was a smaller courtroom than the one
Yeah.
that had that
I
trial?
mean, it's about the
Yeah.
size of this
Yeah. Now, I think the
Wow.
next trial is actually going to be in the closet.
probably
you know,
the
this
broom
next time
closet.
around, yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
Let me get to this really quick. Nicole, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. She says, I love Nurse Kim. My girlfriend is bedside, or though Nurse Plus said no way the car hit him. Also, thank your healthcare worker, plus you guys. Thank you. Appreciate that, Nicole, and thanks for the super chat. 25% will go kickback. Crystal Pond, $5. Are there any officers left who can testify that aren't under an investigation? So here's
Nope.
my point on that, and maybe you will agree and not agree with me. I think because people were asking about this the other day. It was because now all the stuff coming out with Turtle Boy, the talking that was going on in his case, knowing that Tully, Buchanan or Bukaki is involved in this, and you have Proctor. I think that the state wanted to find the fall guy. So they knew that Proctor had all this shit on him, had all the text messages, and he's going back and forth, right? So they had to sit there and strategize this and say, okay, unfortunately, you're going to be the fall guy, because if ABC scenario, let's say we have to come back for a trial, we need Tully and Buchanan to make them kind of look clean face. Let's sick it all on Proctor. Sorry, dude, you got caught. They throw it all on him, because do you think that the state is going to call? You think Proctor's going to get called back for the state? No. But you know who is going to call him? The defense.
Yeah.
But if we kind of play this off, and I know everybody's going to yell at me and go, they're not clean face. I'm just saying, we know that they're not. We know that Tully and Bukaki is not. But the state could kind of try to push their involvement aside so they can get up for the state. I don't know if you're agreeing with me here, but that's how I kind of looked at this.
I'm pondering a few different scenarios of what Proctor may do.
And listen, you don't have to agree with me.
No, it's not a matter of disagreeing. It's just along the lines of, I wonder if they did try to throw Proctor to the wolves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He could flip to the feds.
Could.
and then turn them all in, and then
That'd be great.
Get all the deals like they
Fuck
always
you
say.
guys.
Yeah,
Here we go.
so-
Bang.
yeah, you know what I mean. So,
I love it.
and that's
Yeah.
probably why they haven't fired him,
Probably.
because they know that if they throw him into exile, he's going to come back at them and say, "Well, you guys want me to flip to the feds?" So there's this little tug of war going on where it's not so simple to get rid of the guy. I think that's why you haven't seen him be fired.
I always thought it was going to be Brian Higgins that would flip.
Me too.
Yeah, that was the rumor for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
Still
because
doesn't
the whole
mean he
proffer and then like that fucking weird, like everybody, that weird thing during testimony, all of a sudden the lawyer comes in and they're like, saying, swearing under, swearing him in and all this shit. I'm like, oh, here it goes. We're all fucking waiting. And then like, where's the fireworks? Like, where's the, because they kept all the information out.
Right.
Kept all the information out.
And him and his lawyer had a conversation in less than 15 seconds as well.
What was that all about?
I didn't think you could have a conversation in less than 15
You
seconds.
just said that. Yes.
Off the record, in chamber.
Yeah, right.
What's going on there?
Yes.
Amber C, thank you so much for the $5. Said they need an expert to explain standard investigations and evidence gathering, clearly lacking some common sense of what investigations should look like. And she's probably saying that for the defense. I love that. That would be really great. But I'm going to tell you this, experts cost money. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, we need to start raising a lot of money for Karen's defense. So anything we can do to help is, any idea, any coin in the bucket right now is going to help her. Any coin in the bucket right now is going to help her. Let me just get this. Please pass the pepper. I love that screen name. I don't know why I always laugh when I see it. Biased from Go Word. So we should be, oh boy, I lost track, but maybe all right, we're at 136 right now. Thank you, Sophie. I appreciate that. And we'll just keep moving on here. Peter A, thank you. 9-month member says, don't forget Bev passed on Jackson's offering monitors.
Yes.
Yep.
And gave
gave
hell
to him about that.
To the defense when he had already put it in a motion. And she said, I told you I would think about it. Like, and because he had already, remember Mr. Craig with the tiny table, Craig, he said that it was going to be very discreet. It wouldn't be offensive. It wouldn't take a lot of a long time.
And then she's like, you can figure it out.
And she shut it down as usual.
Yeah. Anything to not give any type of at least some benefit to the defense or balance. Right. How about just making it balanced and fair on both sides?
Yes.
That was not happening.
There was no chance in that. It was about 10%. Yeah. And when she did I was saying this on my show the other day, I think it was yesterday, when she was fair to them 10% of the time, it was on very little, tiny, minute things that really didn't matter in the grand scheme
Mr. Jackson.
Of things. Yeah. I'll allow that. It's some little minute thing. It's like, geez.
You could it was palpable, guys, right? Even for us as viewers, you guys, I'm so jealous that you got to go in and actually have that experience, because anyone like myself or the rest of the public, we're just looking at it like, damn, that looks small. Damn, that looks like everything's very cramped, right?
Yeah.
But you know what it was like. I think it was incredibly inappropriate, to say the least, that Karen was so close to Paul O'Keefe, because and I'm not saying that Karen is afraid of him or anything like that, but the way in which that man just glared at her.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Hi, glare.
But his eyes, you could feel them through the TV.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was, how uncomfortable for him, for like the O'Keefe family, how uncomfortable for the Reed family. And the jury, I imagine, is looking and going, oh shit. And that's where, guys, I think that I just wanted to say, because there's been a lot of chatter about that maybe potentially we are delusional, right? Because it was on counts 1 and 3, we believe and know from what we've seen.
We're the crazy people.
We're the crazies.
We're out of our minds. We're a cult.
And we're the cults. We're the cult. So
Free Karen Reed cult.
With that,
we need a song fucking written about us. That guy.
Yeah.
Love that one.
But it's just when they say that there was 9 allegedly that were in favor of manslaughter. All I want to say about that, and how my theory is that you have to understand that this jury, that Officer John O'Keefe lost his life. Right. We know this.
Yeah.
We know this. We know that seeing Peggy O'Keefe crying every day, you know what I mean? Wanting to give something because Officer John O'Keefe's life matters.
Yep.
It matters. We know that. We believe that. But what we also believe? That Karen Reed's life matters.
That's right.
We also know that Karen Reed being innocent and found guilty of a crime she did not commit is not justice for Officer John O'Keefe. So that is why we fight. That is why we raise our voices.
That's right.
And if any of you do not understand that concept, I need you to go watch a YouTube video and figure it the fuck out, because get some compassion in your life. Have some empathy for others, because I can guarantee you guys, you are one misstep away in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts from you or someone you love being Karen Reed.
That's right.
Just
Extremely
saying.
well said. Extremely well said. That's exactly it. That's the thing we've been echoing for a long time, is that a lot of people out there just think, oh, let's throw Karen in jail. She's guilty. She did it. Case closed. Well, there's no true justice for John O'Keefe that way. His true killer or killers, or anybody perpetrator or perpetrators, are out there, and they've been out there. And it's not Karen Reed. It's other people. It's people that actually physically killed him, or an individual that killed him. And there's individuals that are involved in the cover-up. And that's what's been going on here. And it's fairly obvious that's what it is based on what we've seen happen in the time since. When you're Aidan Carney, for example, and you're talking about all this stuff in the public eye, and your posts are taking off, and suddenly people are jumping on and starting to use their shows about it. Take a sports show and start talking about it. A nurse who also on TikTok talking about it, and many other shows. How many people that have joined this thing and have rose to a notable following online, or become a voice holding a sign somewhere, raising money somewhere, buying popcorn for a fundraiser. So many people have jumped on board here. And when you see someone like Aidan Carney, and you can say, well, maybe he shouldn't have done that, or that, you can argue it whatever way you want. But the fact of the matter is that there was collusion against Aidan. And what they did to Karen Reed under the cover of darkness. And what I mean by that was that nobody was really aware of what was happening at that particular time. Like when she was in police custody, and she said, you're all in on the same joke, right? And then you look at Aidan, who in the really daylight, while we were all watching, saw what happened to Aidan when he was arrested in October of last year, when he was arrested after Christmas last year and taken out of Norfolk District Court.
Taken away from his kids.
And away from his kids right after Christmas time, on his birthday as well, and everything that they did to him. And that just goes to show you right then and there that what you're seeing, what you saw happen to Aidan, in the way that they're continuously going after Aidan right now, is the very justification and validation of what's happened to Karen Reed. And if you didn't see, if they weren't doing something like this to Aidan, if they weren't persecuting him, if they weren't persecuting people like the Canton Nine and Janelle Webb and a couple other people out there like they are for witness intimidation, rubber duckies outside a particular restaurant in Canton, these are people that are trying to silence everybody from having any kind of free speech whatsoever, because they're afraid of basically the truth getting out there. And they were so afraid of Aidan that they did everything in their power to get him behind bars for 60 days, and even tried to get his 60-day bail, I believe, revoked as well, did Ken Mello, which has gone on as well. This is an absolutely sickening scenario. And we should just be able to say this is about Karen Reed being not guilty and fighting for her innocence and fighting for her freedom and trying to get justice for John O'Keefe. But this saga has escalated far beyond that, and even far beyond this case. When you look at Sandra Birchmore, Enrique, Delgado Garcia, Justin Root,
we're going to talk about
all
that
these
tonight
other
too.
Cases that are coming up, you see that this is not only just a Karen Reed thing anymore. This is a Massachusetts thing. This is a United States thing that's going on right now, and it's bigger than the Karen Reed case is bigger than the Karen Reed case, and everything that's going on in this state is bigger than that, because it's now become, well, everything's getting bundled together, because now it's justice for John O'Keefe, it's free Karen Reed, it's justice for Justin Root, it's justice for Enrique Delgado Garcia, it's justice for Sandra Birchmore. It's all of that now. It's become a bigger thing, because we just saw in real time just recently what happened to Enrique Delgado Garcia. And we're seeing, again, the lack of transparency out there, the lack of information that's coming out right now. And really, we're not going to be satisfied with the results, because we imagine it's going to be a simplistic news dump on what happened anyways. And it goes back to what we've been saying about the Karen Reed case, is that we don't feel that the state police have been transparent in this case. We certainly don't believe the Canton police have been transparent in this case. We've seen the FBI from U.S. Attorney Joshua Levy's office come down and make an arrest in the Sandra Birchmore case. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot behind the scenes. There's a lot right in the public eye that we're seeing in live time out there. And it's absolutely sickening. And you as a Massachusetts resident or even a U.S. citizen or even people in other countries, you should be absolutely concerned about this. You should be absolutely outraged. And you should be grabbing a sign and standing out somewhere outside a freeway or outside a shopping mall, whether it's Legacy Place or Franklin Village Plaza or a highway in Worcester or a highway in Taunton or wherever, because this is something that's absolutely outrageous. We can't live in a country that operates this way. And we certainly can't live in a state either that operates this particular way, where certain people have certain powers, where individuals in small towns have the ability to contact not the police, but contact people that they know in the state police and try to bring certain people down, and have a state police officer investigate a rubber duck outside of a pizza place when these same particular officers can't even thoroughly investigate a Boston police officer's death when he was left to die outside the cold in January of 2022. This is absolutely sickening. It's absolutely inconsistent, and it is in no way transparent. And that's why I think so many of us are on board with this particular thing. I should be home right now watching Monday Night Football. I refuse to watch Monday Night Football because coming here tonight, spending this night with Brian, Nurse Kim, everybody tuning in, is bigger to me than that. I'm a big football fan. I love football, and I love basketball and all these other sports and everything else. But this is such a big thing that how can you not get out there and say what you got to say about this and call this particular stuff out? And, I feel, a lot of people say, well, what, you put your head out there, you put your neck out there. Nurse Kim, we're all doing it. Whether you're on a show or not, it doesn't matter. When you're standing out there with a sign, when you're outside the court, you're doing the same thing. You're out there fighting just as much as anybody. And that's an absolute fact. But we all know we got each other's back. We got Aiden's back. We got Karen's back. We got everybody's back. And we all know if they mess with one of us, they got to mess with all of us. And that's the way it's always going to be. So I'll yield back.
You can drop them. Show's over.
Show's over.
Thank you guys. That's a show.
We're good. We're good. All right, I need a water break.
It's a mic drop moment right there.
My gosh, Mazza.
I love it,
Mazza. Beautiful.
That's what Mark. That's why I love having Mark here. I love having Mark on the show.
Yeah,
that's Mark.
Yeah,
I mean that's Mark. It's
a
great dude.
Your voice is so important.
It's a great dude.
And like you were saying though, right there, it's all of us, and it's all of. It's the entire Commonwealth. Right. It's the entire United States, right? And for other countries that, I don't know. I'm really not up to date what's going on in England.
Right.
Pardon me, guys. Let me know if you need me. But every single one of you, by commenting, by, even just showing up here, watching Brian's show, watching Mazza, we're all just trying to speak and be the voices for those who don't have their voice anymore, that their voice was taken away. And in these specific cases in which we are focused on at this moment, it is at the hands of other police officers and or were covered by other police officers. And that we say no more. No more. The thin blue line has turned into a toxicity, a culture of almost an underbelly, right?
Yeah.
Like of an organized crime syndicate.
Sure.
Get your shit together, protect and serve us all, or don't take the job.
Don't pick up the badge.
Right?
Yeah. Don't pick up the shield.
Oh yeah. You got state police officers that are making visits all across the state of Massachusetts to try to basically get either people charged with witness intimidation or trying to get them to say that Aiden Carney did something that he didn't do, which is an absolute, it's just absolutely crazy and unheard of. I've never heard about this kind of stuff before, but that seems to be the case. And it's sickening to listen to. And then you have, these people out there and I think that they're just not being noticed. Do you really think that you're not being observed doing this? Do you really think that people like Barstool Sports and other news outlets like NBC, 10 News are not looking at this and they're saying, hey, what is this officer doing today? Why is he doing that? And I mean, if rubber ducks are witness intimidation, then what the hell?
We're losing our minds in America. Let me just get to a couple super chats. And then I want to ask you both a question and get your reaction on this. And then maybe we can transition over to Enrique Delgado Garcia. I'd love to talk a little bit about that as well tonight too. Please pass the pepper Thank you so much for the 1999er. We'll add that to the total. Rami, $10 says, do you think Canton Select Board will address Chris Albert's recent unhinged behavior? No. That's my honest answer. No. Maybe they give him one off like they did. Didn't they do something last time?
Yeah, they did. And
yeah.
they did do
the apology.
He didn't even write that note. We know
Right.
that. That was a forced
that was a first
statement.
written. So probably not.
Yeah.
Crystal Pond, thank you so much. I mean, not for the implication or the suspension or whatever it is that you're looking for. In their mind, 3-2.
Yeah,
That's what it's gonna be. 3-2. 3-2.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. Crystal Pond, thank you so much. Paul O'Keefe acts like a jilted lover. That's $2. Sophie's got the total 168 so far. I appreciate that. I think I have a few more here. I just want to make sure we get these in, and
Of course.
we make sure. Let's see, we're at 173. Thank you so much for the transparency in that. I have a couple more that just came in that I want to get to. We had Terry Martin, thank you so much for the $25. We'll add that to the total, and 25% of that we'll get back to Karen Reed tonight. And then we have Colleen, thank you for the $5. Says, hi, Nurse Kim. Hashtag punch a Proctor. Can you give us a punch a Proctor?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Colleen, this one's for you, babe. Punch a Proctor.
I love it. Let me ask you both a question. I'm gonna have you both opine on this for a second. So we have, like people that call, we're the crazy ones, right? Oh, well, police officers, would never do anything like this. They wouldn't be involved in any type of corruption, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take that element out of it. Do you think those people would think of this differently? Because I think people tend to go, well, police officers are here to protect us. They would never do anything wrong. Okay, so let's take that element out of it. Do you think that the people that say that would think differently about this? Or these cases, and just in general?
So, am I hearing this right? So if it wasn't somebody who we would throw all of, but generally speaking, we believe protect and serve. If it wasn't for that element,
right,
would they say,
right,
this is
right?
Absolutely
So let's
dirty.
say we know who was in 34 Fairview that night.
Yep.
You take the police element out of it, and it's just regular people, right? Just regular people partying, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that they go, oh, they fucking killed him? They sick the dog on him. They dragged him outside. Karen went home. They fucking killed him. But because it's police officers and it's Canton, and we know the ties to Canton.
Yeah.
These people, that are this no, this could never happen because it's police officers. Do you think we take that element out of it and people on that side turn?
Agree.
More of them turn?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Just because there would have been, and even if there would have been so many different things that were done. If Brian Albert wasn't Brian Albert, okay, it would have been actually an investigation. They would have searched that house. Right. He would have been in custody, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it would have been, there would have been just a whole different array of procedures and policies would have been followed if he wasn't who he was in that specific case.
I agree. What do you think, Mazza?
Yeah, in that particular case, you're absolutely right, Nurse Kim, about that 100%. That basically because they had the right connections, they knew the right people. They had a state police officer that was at the same wedding, with that family.
Jen McCabe's just allowed to wander off into a house.
Absolutely.
I was just watching Cops the other day, right?
Yeah.
I was literally watching Cops the other day. Cruiser pulled over a couple people in a car, and they all got out, and one of them started to walk away, and he's like, Hey, where are you going? Where are you going? Why did we not see that on any of the video? Jen McCabe just sneaks off, goes back up to Brian Albert's house. Hey, this is what's going on. Who the fuck is allowed to do that? Who's allowed to do that?
Not in a contained
You let
crime
witnesses
scene.
walk off?
Yeah. Not in a contained crime scene.
Right.
But I think getting back to your question too, if these were not cops that were involved in that house, but I think in your scenario, John O'Keefe is still a cop in this scenario.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it would be a whole different situation because they would be more, they would have cops in their favor. They would be looking at it more objectively. And I think from the outside observer, this wouldn't become
a great point.
Well, I think there's a back the blue mentality. And I think the problem is that in our country, it's basically like back the blue versus defund the police. And I think some of the people that are taking the other side here, which is the anti-Karen Reed side, are in it because it's back to blue, and they think that we're kind of cut from the same cloth as defund the police, which is not the case at all.
No.
And we've said this several times. I've said it. Dina said it. Many other people have said it. We're not anti-police. We're anti-police corruption. We're not in a fight against cops here. You know, like I said, I have a cousin that's a cop in the state right now, not for the state police, but he's a cop in the state. My uncle was a cop. I actually at one point was pondering law enforcement myself when I was younger.
I could see you as a law enforcement.
Yeah, when I was younger. Yeah. When I was about 18, I was pondering getting into criminal justice, but I never did it because my dad goes, well, you got to think about what you're getting into because there's a lot of corruption out there.
Here we go.
Trust me.
Here we are.
That's what my dad said to me, you know, back when I was 18. And I said, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I'll look at something else. But when you look at this whole thing, it's a lot of people just have this attitude where it's, you know, all cops are good and that's it. And it's not the case. It's not that way. It's not, nothing is ever black and white. It's always shades of gray. It's case by case. And people say like, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, there are some things where I am a conspiracy theorist. And like, I won't get too specific, but I happen to not think that a certain person shot John F. Kennedy. And that's one particular case that I'm a conspiracy theorist then, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist on everything else. People say, well, you must think that this is fake and that's fake. And this didn't really, no, not really. On a case by case basis, looking at the John F. Kennedy assassination, there's enough red flags there to make me say, gee, I really don't know if that guy with the bolt action rifle was going to be able to get out that many shots in that amount of time when he could have shot John F. Kennedy coming up the street instead of waiting for him to go all the way at the distance and shooting him while he's driving. All I'll say is that's far-fetched. But that's being an objective thinker. It's being a logical thinker, which is basically looking at things and not saying, well, you know, the guy who was accused of being the shooter did it. I mean, maybe he was involved to some degree. I don't know. But ultimately, at the end of the day, is you have to look at this stuff objectively, which is not like, well, I'm a cop supporter, so I'm going to be on the side of cops. No, not all cops are good. There are cops out there that are bad, they're dirty, and they are corrupt, and they're not afraid to go out there and do what they do. There's, you know, particularly people in politics, and a lot of times it's, let's be honest here, it's not the opposite party all the time, is it? It's a lot of people a lot of times in both parties that have got dirt on them, and you hear it all the time. There's controversies with both political parties. So again, it's not all people on every side are all good all the time, and there are bad apples interwoven in any group and anything that you look at in this particular world. It's just reality. You just can't sit there unobjectively and say, well, I think that all cops are good. And well, what about the cop that was murdered inside the house and left for dead isn't John O'Keefe a cop too? I mean, this is cops against cops, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. It's a woman that backed up her vehicle and killed a cop. And no, it's not. Karen Reed didn't do that. Give me a break. Stop it. And you got to look at things more objectively. And that's the biggest fight that we've been in. That you have so many people, not maybe a lot of them, but you have a degree of people out there that are just insistent that they think Karen Reed did this, and it's just not true at all. And it's really sad. It really is, because if you truly believe Karen Reed did this, oh, she walks around and acts like she's a celebrity and she likes all the fame. I think at the end of the day that she does find some solace and peace in all of the support that she gets, because it's refreshing to go through all of this chaos day in and day out like she has. She's had her whole life on hold for over 2 years, going on 3 and beyond at this particular point. It's probably going to go 5 years to a decade at this particular rate. Easily. She wakes up every single day miserable to some degree. And this is a woman that's still to some degree mourning the death of her boyfriend that was murdered and is fighting for John O'Keefe more than anybody. Nobody is fighting for John O'Keefe more than Karen Reed, because she didn't kill him. And she knows that it wasn't her who did it. She knows that other people were involved. She knows it was an awful situation that she was swept up in, and it's a real sickening situation. And she should feel grateful that so many people line the streets outside the courthouse with signs, pink shirts, Free Karen Reed signs that are supporting her. She should. This is a blessing for her, and this is a wake-up call that every single one of us have got to some degree to sit there and say, hey, look, this is a woman that needs our help. We need to back her up. And look at what's happened. Even despite all of our help and all of the money that we raised for her, look what happened. They refused to throw out counts 1 and 3. They're forcing this thing into another trial. You have a judge that basically has forced the defense to go to the Supreme Court now in Massachusetts and try to fight counts 1 and counts 3. This is how far they're willing to go. Even when Karen was on trial, a judge fought the defense hand and foot, through and through. And even when a jury deliberated and even declared her not guilty on 2 counts, look what happened. The judge dragged it out and made sure. And this was with all our support. All the money. I mean, God help Karen
and all
if
the
she didn't
eyes.
have all the money that we were able to raise for her. So if Karen Reed feels grateful that so many people are supporting her, she should be happy. She should smile. She should hug people. She should feel blessed. She should go to standouts like she does and thank people in glad hand. She should, because she knows that we are fighting right alongside her, and that it's a blessing for her. It's a blessing for their family. This Reed family, they're so grateful. And we're grateful for them because we've backed up them, but they've been nothing but outpouring to us as
generous,
well. And that's
very
every
generous
individual,
to us.
every single person
Very
they
generous
have.
to us.
And they're very grateful people.
Yeah.
And this is a great thing. And like I talked about moments ago, this is a team effort. This is a team battle. This is about all us getting in the ring and saying, you know what? You're not taking Karen Reed down, and you can force us to 19 trials if you want. We can all sit here till my hair is old and gray and I'm walking with a cane and my skin's all wrinkled and I look like my grandfather did in his later years. We're still going to be here because it's just worth fighting, and it's something that's worth the battle. And we ain't grifters either. So shut up.
And we ain't got no quit.
Right.
Right.
I always laugh at that too, because literally, and I think I'm gonna do this at some point. Is count up the receipts that I've literally given back.
Yeah.
I know it's around $10,000.
Yeah.
So how am I grifting if I'm giving back to a defense fund?
Right.
Like I laugh at that. They're like, oh, you're grifters.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about this really quick. So when CNN gets out there and Fox News gets out there and they have their broadcast and they're taking in advertising money and all that makes them grifters too.
That's right.
You don't think that you think that I don't know who's a mainstream media broadcaster. I can't think of one off the top of my head because I don't watch the news.
Yeah,
they're getting paid.
Yeah, they have commercial
They're
advertising.
getting paid.
Yeah.
They
advertise products.
But the minute you have a YouTube channel that you pop up and you talk about local news, you're a fucking grifter all of a sudden.
Right.
I love that.
Exactly.
Shit. I love that shit.
And someone said a lot of these content creators are making all kinds of money off this. And then someone actually said in our defense one time, like, how much money is Mazza and LTL given? And how many times have I given money out of my own pocket or done 20 for 20 challenges and raised money for Aiden and Karen? So it's like these people, and how many times have you, Brian, done 25% or 50% or 30%?
Just about every Karen Reed stream I do.
Just about all the time. How many times when we do our shows, we're putting the link and saying donate to Karen? So these people out there, they're talking smack. How many times have I had popcorn deliveries to my house that are delivered to my elderly neighbor's house? And I got to call up my neighbor and be like, can I come over and grab my box? She goes, it happened to you again, Mark? I'm like, yeah. She goes, come over and get your popcorn. I talked to my neighbor for 20 minutes. She's a nice old lady. But
and the funny thing about it too is the money that I give, guess what I have to do at the end of the year? Pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
Out of my pocket.
Right, exactly.
Let me get to this.
Right.
Speaking of grifting, let me get to these super chats. And we'll total up the total here.
There we go.
And hopefully we can get some more money to Karen Reed's Defense Fund tonight. But Crystal Pond, you've been lovely through this entire stream. Thank you so much. Says everyone needs to dress as a yellow duck and as green turtles for Halloween. I love that. Rodney, again, thank you. You've been super generous.
Right.
If it was an average resident, the police would have checked the house. I love that point too. Let me see if I missed any other here. Go down the chat here. Jody in the house. Good to see you. Mary's been here. Love to see the Ghost Squad members here. I love you all. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Someone said grift on.
Griftathon.
Griftathon. Yeah. We're going to do a griftathon. Right. Jody says, fuck the haters. We all know the truth. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. If we could shift gears a little bit and, maybe we do another, 30 minutes here if it's good for you guys. I love the griftathon. This is great. Let's talk about one of the most recent things that have happened here over the last 2 weeks. The terrible tragedy and death of Enrique Delgado Garcia. Thank you.
It's getting late.
And, the thing that I'm getting tired of, and I said this the other day when I was out at the Karen Reed standout on Sunday, I said, I'm getting tired of these lists. It seems like we're adding people to this list of these deaths, these botched investigations, the non-transparency, the non-accountability. And now we have what seems like Enrique was a very genuine human being, from what I'm understanding and learning about him. Hardworking, spent what, 1.5 years in the DA's office, and then went to pursue his dream to become a state police officer. And he probably, probably had that in him again, I don't personally know him, but that's something that probably was a fire in his belly growing up as a child. Sought his way into the DA's office and worked and got around that environment. And then it probably really invigorated him to leave the DA's office and go on to be a state trooper. And now we have this death, this tragedy, and we're what, 2.5 weeks out? 2.5 weeks? We have no fucking news of what happened there.
Nothing.
And we know about...
They ain't giving us none either.
Right. We know about the injuries that the family has reported in through interviews. His mom has been very transparent about what she saw: broken teeth, a broken neck, a broken leg. And what I keep hearing in the mainstream media, the way this continues to get reported, is this was a training exercise accident. Supposedly it happened during this boxing session, this defensive boxing session. And Maz has been on plenty of lives where we've pulled up those videos, watched it in a controlled environment with the proper equipment on, with DIs there.
Yeah, you taught me a lot, Maz, when we watched it.
And nothing.
No.
Now we have this investigator that's come on, Myers, that has ties, once again,
as expected,
to the Mass State Police. 30-year relationship with them. Investigated the drug scandal, the drug lab scandal back in 2013-14. And now here we are again, and we think that this guy is going to come in and be the special investigator and give us the truth. I don't know, guys and ladies. I smell, let's sweep this under the rug.
Oh, yeah.
How you feeling about this? I'll go around the table. I'll go to Kim first.
I've been talking about.
So I think, as usual, guys, this broke my heart. This was a case. As soon as this broke, Brian and Mazza, I was like heartbroken because I saw the face of Sandra Garcia, Enrique's mother, and her heartbreak. I could feel it through the screen. Her just desperately seeking answers of how could this have happened. She's standing outside of UMass Memorial Medical Center in Worcester, and she's sitting there, standing and saying, "This doesn't make sense. How could this happen?" Their cousins get up and they say he was murdered. They said they killed him.
And then he goes, and they're running away.
And they ran away.
They ran away. They didn't want to answer for anything. So the rumor was, and sources have said, that they were top officials from Mass State Police that were there, and that they were essentially poo-pooing people out of the room and actually treating people like shit while they were there. And probably the family stepped up and got mad and said, "You need to answer some fucking questions here."
Right?
And then everybody ran away because you hear the cousin, and forgive me, I've got his name, but he said, he goes, and they're running away. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want to answer for anything.
No, I mean, it's just, it is such a calamity. It's a shameful, another stain on not only Mass State Police, but the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And to see how this family, this grieving family has been treated, the lack of transparency, the lack of care, comfort, empathy, sympathy is remarkable. Coming from the DA's office, where Joe Early got up and said, "I loved Enrique. We're going to do everything that we can." Well, babes, that is not you doing everything that you can to hire an independent investigator when you hire David Meyer, who not only has Mass State Police connections. I heard he's a decent guy, a really decent guy. But here's what I did hear. And I know for a fact that he leans blue. He's gonna keep leaning blue. And here's another little fast fact. He worked with whose wife at Norfolk? At Suffolk, at the Suffolk DA's office with Greg Long's wife. Greg Long, the old chief of Boston Police Department. So who just retired early, guys. He just happened to retire on July 6th of this year, before he was of age and of eligibility. Hello.
Right.
What?
Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This is 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. We're doing it everywhere.
Right.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
You are getting up and you're saying in front of a family that was basically hijinxed and brought into this press conference, this friggin' presser that was...
And they were lied to. They were lied
Yeah.
They were lied to.
Said that it was something that you were going to give me information about
They
my
were
son.
lied to, and they whisked them out there on stage. You can see the fucking horror in their face. And they're literally still grieving at that point. The horror. And then all of a sudden, like I was, Joe Early goes, I don't want anything to do with it. We're going to step aside because Enrique worked with us. That's a little fishy to me, too. That seems a little bit fishy. I would be outraged if I was Early. Like, I want some fucking answers here. Like, what's going on? Immediately, he goes, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
That was a little,
I mean, I get that he's
sus.
going to say I get that he had to say conflict, but the way he said we're conflicted out was a little bit, like it just sounded odd how he did it and said that we're not going to take it. But until we determine who is going to be that special investigator, we still have who on it? Mass State Police.
Yeah, Mass State Police.
Get the fuck
Who's doing the
outta
investigation?
here.
Right.
Get out of town. Like it is horrifying. And you saw DA Early say that the family at the end, after I'm seeing Sandra again, I'm crying. I'm crying watching her. And they say, are you guys going to take any questions? And Early knew damn right well that all they wanted was privacy. So you paraded a grieving family who just lost their son when you were supposed to take care of him. You were supposed to mold him. You were supposed to give him the education in order for him to be the best Mass State trooper that friggin' Worcester had ever seen. But you didn't. You didn't send their baby home. You sent him in a body bag. And now he is at a grave site. And his family must go visit him there. And for that, you will never be forgiven for the sins that happened there. I'll tell you that. All right. And all I know is that it is a shell. Okay. It is a sham. And I already feel the fix is in. And I will not stop saying Enrique Delgado Garcia's name until we know what happened. Sorry.
Yeah, this deserves.
Okay, go right ahead. No. This is
no.
necessary.
Yeah,
go continue.
Yeah, and Heidi says, Brian, didn't you say there were maybe a gag order on the cadets? That is what one of my sources came forward and said.
That 100%.
That it was shut down pretty quick. Pretty quick. And I'm not going to divulge too much more information, but I know a lot.
If you guys say anything about this is going to jeopardize your future with the Massachusetts State Police, so you guys better remain quiet.
And I'm going to tell you, if you go and look, and I would pull it up, but I know it's going to screw up the screen, and I would have pulled them up. But I'm going to tell you, the Mass State Police, you can go to their Facebook account, and I want you to look at the photos. Some of those troopers walking by and looking at the camera and looking in that camera. I think they know something going on, some of them. It's a little funny. But Mass State Police put out a post yesterday. It says on Saturday, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's 12 hours ago. So yeah, it says on Saturday, we laid our brother, Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia, to rest. As a member of the 9th Recruit Training Troop, Trooper Delgado Garcia possessed and displayed all the qualities that would have made him an outstanding trooper: kindness and compassion, dedication, commitment, willingness to work, hard work to improve himself, and a strong desire to help others. We offer his loved ones our deepest condolences with our promise to remember him and honor his memory. Well, how about this? How about putting in there that we are determined to investigate what happened to Trooper Delgado Garcia and get some transparency and some accountability. I wrote on a post and received a lot of likes. The public demands full transparency and accountability as to what happened to Enrique. We deserve that. And I'm going to tell you, I don't, but I already know. I don't want to go live and find out this guy was beat. 3 or 4 people jumped this guy, beat him up, whatever it is. I mean, come on. Broken teeth, broken leg, broken neck. That doesn't happen in a controlled environment with proper equipment. This guy was either jumped or in this training exercise, it got out of hand and it was allowed to continue to get out of hand. And I would say this is like a fight club thing. Just keep going. You're going to have to fight your way out of this. If someone's on you and they're tackling you, what are you going to do at midnight? What if you lose your weapon? Fight, 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 fight. I can see a scenario like that where the DIs let this go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason this will get swept under is because if we find out and the public finds out and it gets out there that the Mass State Police, that this guy was beat to death inside that facility, that whole fucking facility will be shut down. And they don't want that. Because what happens?
Additionally,
this.
Lose
this.
Every other academy in the state is also going to be under investigation as well.
Absolutely.
For at least a review.
Absolutely.
By who, I don't know. But this is a big issue. And I keep likening it to a murder taking place in an Amazon.com facility and then being investigated by Jeff Bezos and Amazon. How can you trust Amazon to do their own investigation? Actually, it's funny. I was actually watching The Amazing Spider-Man 2 just last night. And in that movie, Jamie Foxx's character has an incident at Oscorp and turns into an electromagnetic man. It's the company itself that covers it up and sweeps it under the rug, so it never sees the light of day. So, that's a movie reference of the night for you right there. But I haven't been doing the movie references as much.
I love it.
Yeah, we needed one. So, but that's what it's like with this, though. It's basically an academy run by the state police that cares about the values of the state police and the concerns about the state police and the best interests of the Massachusetts State Police. And a cadet getting either killed or murdered on their facility is not something that they ever want seeing the light of the day.
Right.
It's in their best interests as the Massachusetts State Police to ensure that the truth never gets out. It was a training accident. Yeah. Okay. I guess so.
So tell us about it then.
Tell us about it.
Tell us how the accident happened then. What, you're saying that a piece of equipment fell on him or you fell down a fucking hole or what?
Yeah.
What is this training accident? What is
Crazy.
this training accident? And I'll just address this really quick because I love when I get people that come in and they just do this. So we'll just address this really quick. Why are you yelling? Because that's called passion.
Yeah, it's called passion.
I'm going to tell you this too.
Yeah.
If you don't like that I'm yelling, and I always tell people I'm live and loud. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch.
Additionally, you can turn your volume down as well.
Go
if the voices are too
out
loud.
of the chat. It's okay. It's okay. This is my show. It's my platform. I'm passionate.
Yes.
I yell. I scream. It's what we do here. It's what we do here because we're standing up for people that
are murdered
or need justice.
There's that,
need justice in their life. So
yeah, we feel this deeply, guys. And I just am a big mouth broad, and it is what it is. And
I'm Boston.
Yeah,
I'm Massachusetts.
We're
loud,
passionate massholes, and what we mean is that we are only feeling it. It burns a fire in our bellies, and we just say, like, we've got to say it, we've got to get it out, and it comes out passionately, right, Mazza?
Yeah. And to quote my boss, like he says every day at work when we get into it, not with each other but other people, we say, we're not selling ice cream here. We're not handing out balloons. We're not handing out stickers. We may hand out rubber ducks, but we're not going to hand out ice cream balloons and stickers here and gloss over what's going on. It's a serious program that Brian's running. There you go. We can maybe hand out a rubber duck to make a quick joke, but ultimately at the end of the day, we're not selling ice cream. We're talking about a cadet that was murdered, John O'Keefe that was murdered, Sandra Birchmore, what happened to her,
Karen Reed that's framed for murder, Justin Root and all that stuff. These are serious issues. This is not a dog and pony show we're operating here. We're not gonna, there's not gonna be magic tricks later in the show where we're turning balloons into poodles here. Right.
Or how about this? How about your best friend gets killed in 1994 and the 2 individuals that are responsible for that, one goes for about 6 months and then the DA fumbles the case and can't get it together and the other guy walks. Yeah. You'd probably yell too.
Yeah.
You'd probably have a fire in your belly.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I've been there. Yeah. I've been there. And I have a live on that if you want to watch it on my channel.
Right.
My best friend was killed. My best friend was murdered. Yeah.
Right.
You can watch the live.
Yeah.
And
I've heard about that story.
have
actually.
all
Yeah.
the newspaper
I watched that,
articles and I timeline it for everybody. Let me get to this really quick. Rebecca, thank you so much for the $10 Canadian. If it hadn't been watching, if I hadn't been watching it, would have never believed the level of corruption, collusion, incompetence, and abuse of power that has occurred. Those officers are a disgrace to the badge, obsessed with Nurse Kim. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Let's add that $10 to the total. We had a couple more soupies come in. We'll recognize, though. Allegedly, LB, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. And I got one more that just came in. Let's see. We have a $20 super chat from D Brown. Great Celtic.
Great Celtic.
Great Celtic.
Great dunk.
The dunk.
Yeah,
the no-look dunk.
Yep.
Amazing work. I'm an ER nurse, and all of those cases are just jaw-dropping that the CW is trying to say that this is injuries and how it happened.
Yes.
I agree.
Well, it's like anything. Take what you know, and then apply it. Nurse, whether you've been, you do martial arts, other things that you know about, you take it and apply it practically to what you're hearing told to you, and you can't help but say, this does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. My mother is a nurse. Yeah, she is. And I talked to her about the wounds on the arm. What did she say? Well, those look like dog wounds to her. So that's the conversation we had a couple months back. And, she was pretty adamant that that wasn't what they were saying it was. So that's, like I said, anyone in the medical field, I was talking about some medically related stuff as it pertained to Enrique Delgado Garcia and numerous individuals that were medical people that work in a medical field. I mean, you work in a medical field, you see it all.
Yes.
Depending on the wing that you're working or whatever, you see quite a bit. You see oftentimes more than you want to see and more than you want to, and you sit there and you're like, well, this is, so you see a story like John O'Keefe, you see his arm. I mean, you're not going to sit there and say, well, in all my years in the nursing field, have you ever seen I do that to somebody's arm?
Never, not one time.
Have you seen dog wounds, claw marks, bite marks?
Yes, I have.
Does it look similar to John O'Keefe's arm?
Yes, there absolutely is similar patterns.
There we go.
Yeah, and if you want to brush up on that, Melanie Little actually had a live with an expert, and I do forget his name because it was quite a while ago, but I would encourage you to go over and watch the dog training expert that actually trains police dogs. And I'm sure the chat's going to let us know the gentleman's name, but trains police dogs and actually demonstrates what striations look like when a dog bites, because he trains dogs to bite that certain way.
In that specific stream, guys, if you do go watch it too, remember he had the arm.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He showed
when
it.
He went like this, and all of a sudden you saw where it had gone, and it was eerily like that was like one of almost a microdots, like a Richie moment, where the hair on my arm stood up because when he went like this and he said here, because it was like a, it's the color, it's like yellow or whatever the training arm is. But when he went like this with the sponging material, and you saw
the striations,
those patterned injuries, it looked like eerily similar to Officer John O'Keefe.
Garrett Wing, that's what his name was. Thank you, Garrett Wing. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have so much information that comes through our head sometimes we totally forget. Rami, thank you so much for the $20. I'll let you all answer this. How do you think that Judge Canone will feel about Hank Brennan? Two-parter here, and this is, do you think that she'll be as warm and fuzzy to him as she did Lally? Probably more, knowing the mob ties. Knowing the mob tie. What do you all think? I'll let you. And by the way, Sophie, you earned a blue wrench tonight. I appreciate you. You're always in my chat. So welcome to the moderator group. I appreciate it. So I gave you a blue wrench. You are a blue wrencher now. I don't know. I'll let you two answer.
Go ahead,
this
Mazza.
one.
You go. Yes.
I'm blanking out. What was the question?
Yeah, I'll go back to it. No problem.
A little tired.
Yeah. Let's see. Asked, how do you think Judge Canone will feel about Hank Brennan? Do you think that should be as warm and fuzzy as she did to Lally?
Right. Sorry about that. It's getting a little late on a Monday.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just put it this way. She's favoring the prosecution, no matter who the attorneys are. If she's favoring Adam Lally, she'll favor Krusty the Clown. He's the
I thought you were going to say another Krusty.
No, not that one. But no, it's that's the way it's going to be. She's just going to favor the prosecution because whose side is she on? It's not the defense's side. Then, that's where I leave it there. So,
Kim, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that it's just going to be classic Bev, and she held, in my opinion, she held Adam Lally's hand every day. She told him when to, even called objections before he did, and just really showed her bias was showing all day, every day. I think that she will just fall right in line, and Hank Brennan, she'll be saying, Hank the Tank, come on, baby. And she will give him those eyes that I've only seen her give to one other attorney. Yeah. And that was the beauty of Marty Weinberg. He did get the Bev eyes, but I'm sure that the prosecution will have their 90-10 split.
Right. Yeah, about it.
Yeah. Let's see here. All right, let's do this. I think we're getting close to the end here. Yeah. I appreciate everybody being here. It is late, and I know that both of these wonderful individuals do have a little bit of a drive home. So I want to thank both my guests for being here.
Of course.
I think Kelly Reed just jumped in
Kelly
the chat.
Hi,
hello, Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Thank you for being here. We're going to wrap this puppy up in a minute. I'm trying to get hang on one second.
Oh, Missy's here too.
Yes, Mizzy just jumped in.
Hi,
which
okay,
was
now
awesome.
all right, we'll talk for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to talk a little bit and kind of keep it going. I'm just trying to get this this list going so we can run this race.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, we all appreciate you guys, okay? And every single person who joins in on this chat, who stands up for what you believe in. When we stand up to injustice for one, whether it's Karen Reed, whether it is Sandra Birchmore, whether it is Officer John O'Keefe, whether it is Enrique Delgado Garcia, Justin Root, we are making a difference. Your voices make a difference. Mm-hmm. No matter how small you may think it is or insignificant, guys, it is such a big deal. You are important, and we appreciate you. I know I appreciate I don't know all of Brian's humans, but I want to know you. Mm-hmm. And I know that you are doing everything that you can in your own way to just help make our communities, help make our judicial system run the way that it was supposed to, right? Like, this was all supposed to be in fairness. That is it. We want, justice for all, equal under the law, and not justice for some, and only, cover-ups and, covering for Boston police officers and other officers just looking the other way, only to benefit the select few. And that can no longer occur, in my opinion. I appreciate every single one of you, and I love your faces. Mazza, take it from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love all you guys. It's been great. It's been a team effort. Every person that's ever donated $1, and even if you're unable to donate as little as $1, no worries. If you've been out there just talking to people and talking about the case and talking about Karen Reed's innocence and showing up at standouts, everything has value. It doesn't matter, if you can contribute, that's great. But if you can't, no problem. Mm-hmm. Spread the word. Wear a hat, wear a t-shirt, hold a sign. If you
make your own signs.
Yeah.
I mean, the first ones, I remember Turtle Boy just used to a little tiny piece of paper and wrote sign, Free Karen Reed on it. So,
and even if you can't make a standout, if you can't get out to a standout, stand in your local town somewhere, on a standout and raise your sign, hold your sign there and stand tall. It's all good stuff. And I think everything contributes to the absolute whole here, which is supporting Karen Reed. And it doesn't matter how you do it, go ahead and do it, and just keep the pace. We're going to keep the pace here because they're obviously trying to run Karen's while it's dry. They're obviously trying to drain that, and we got no quit. We're going to continue to raise money and stand tall and do what we got to do.
Right.
And, I guess there's going to be a standout in Washington, D.C. this upcoming weekend as well. And I think there's going to be an even bigger one that we're going to be running down there, potentially in January. I would actually advise that we probably push that to February, just because I think that once the presidential election takes place, half the country is probably going to be pretty miserable. So I think January is going to be pretty hot in Washington, but I'll talk to other people about that.
Yeah.
But, it might be good maybe in February. But major trip down to Washington, D.C. would be awesome for many of us, and getting down there and spreading the word, just getting knocking on doors. And the State House standouts have been fantastic. The State House standout took place recently. It was amazing. It was epic. I wasn't there, but it came through on the internet, on the streams that I watched. Incredibly You had Etsy, who's a regular. She's always outside the State House, oftentimes, sometimes by herself. And you've had many other people outside the State House before, but there was so many people out there recently, from Rita and Turtle Boy and many others that were out there, and a lot of regulars that took a trip. And I mean, Tommy spent $45 on parking in a parking garage that was probably the most claustrophobic looking parking garage that I've ever seen in my entire life. Half that chat had anxiety watching Tom trying to find parking that afternoon. But Tom's been a great guy. He's done a lot for this particular movement, and he's been driving all over the place and running shows early in the morning, teaming with Boston Mike, filming live, appearing on scene in all kinds of weather conditions, from extreme heat to extreme cold. And Tommy's a great guy. So shout out to you, Tommy, for all you've done. You're valued. You're 100%. Awesome. And we love you, brother. And we love everybody. We absolutely love everybody. Every single person here is bringing something to this. And like I always say, just bring what it is that you have. If you like to be like our buddy Joe Flipperhead, who likes to make a lot of awesome videos,
right,
then do that. If you like to cut clips. If you like to do, organize a standout, do what your talent is. If you're someone who likes to bake and you want to sell baked goods to make money for Karen Reed, go right ahead and do that. Just whatever your talents are, whatever your gifts are, use those talents, use those gifts, put those to work, and it's going to do nothing but contribute to the whole, which is supporting Karen Reed in her battle against absolute corruption. And it is absolute corruption. Every force known to man is coming against her in this particular state. And additionally, it's come after followers of Karen Reed and supporters of Karen Reed in this particular state. We're not going to be pushed around. They're not going to make us back down. We're not going to hide. We're not going to cower. We're not going to quit. We're not going to run in fear. We're going to stand behind every single person that's in this movement, back each other up, and never back down and never quit. And we're going to continue to raise money for Karen. We're going to continue to push. We're going to continue to do this as long as it takes. And we're going to win. We're going to win the long game here. Short game, long game, it don't matter. We're going to win. Karen Reed's walking out that door one day in her future, an acquitted woman, no matter what it takes.
I love it.
If we need to do, listen, do not make us make a feet finder or an OnlyFans for this duck, okay? If it needs to happen, though, we are not afraid, because you will not bleed Karen of all of her assets and all of her things, and all of us, whether it's $1, 1 foot pick, we're figuring it out, because we could be Karen, any of us, and we all know that, guys.
That's right.
You answer the call every single day, and you are so appreciated by everybody, and that is basically our. That's it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let me just get these real quick, and then we're gonna roll this race to win the free Karen Reed hat. So we have Carrie. Awesome. Thank you so much. She's a great show. Free Karen Reed, Justice for John, Sandra, and Justin, and Enrique. I love it. Crystal Palm. This could be any of us. Amber, $10 super sticker, and then we just had Sally come through with a $5 super Venmo. I appreciate it. We got the total here. If Sophie can give me the total, what we're going to do is we are going to race duckies this evening. We're going to do a duck race.
What's the duck?
The duck race. And what I did was I entered everybody that sent a super chat or a Venmo in this evening. This was something that I wanted to do to give back. And we're going to give back a free Karen Reed hat this evening, courtesy of Boma Hats. And if you haven't got your Boma hat, you can check them out on Etsy. Just put in Boma. And right now, the total is at $305. So if we take 25% of that, let's see. It's going to be $76. So it's rounded up to $80. We'll make it $80. We'll kick that back to Karen Reed's defense fund tonight. All right. We're going to get this race on the way. 3, 2, 1. And we're up to start here. We have Legend LG out ahead. Peter A gaining. Terry Martin's right there as well. Karen Reed is innocent, making the push. Peter A still making the push. Pass the pepper coming up from behind. We got D Brown. Oh, Karen Reed is innocent in the ring.
Oh God,
Karen Reed.
That's hilarious.
We got Peter A, D Brown pulling ahead. And we have Peter A and John Varney now pulling ahead. John Varney in the winning position so far. Is anybody going to make a pop here at the end? Looks like coming up from behind, Bodega Lady is going to take the win. Congratulations. won a free Karen
Oh,
Reed
so
hat.
awesome.
And what the fuck is quacking? Bodega Lady, what you need to do is reach out to me at email address. Let's talk live podcast at gmail.com, and let's get you the hat. Congratulations. And she is in the chat. That's great. So reach out to me. Let's talk live podcast at gmail.com. That is my email there. And all I need to do is just vet it, and I will get this hat out to you. Free Karen Reed hat, courtesy of Boma Hats. Thank you for all of your donations this evening. I want to thank my two awesome guests here that sat down in the room here. We had the opportunity the other day to sit and break bread, and it was such a great collaborative together to get all of the brilliant minds in the room. And it was just such a great opportunity, and I look forward to doing that again sometime. And thank you for coming out here. I know it's late on a Monday night. We're all old. It's late. We have long rides home.
We're old.
7 o'clock alarm time tomorrow.
But that guy right there, that awesome guy over there is Mark Mazza Media. You can check him out on YouTube at Mazza Media. That's Mazza Media. You can find him there, and he's very active on Twitter as well under the same handle. Nurse Kim, thank you. First time in the LTL studio. I got to have you back sometime.
Of course.
Total blast. You can find her on YouTube at Nurse Kim, and your TikTok. Please give your TikTok out.
Yes, TikTok is Nurse Kim. And wait, what is my thing? Oh, K. I don't know. I think it's KJ.
You just type in like at Nurse Kim, it pops up. I noticed.
Kim.
Yeah, every time I'm trying to tag you on something, I just type in Nurse Kim and it pops up.
Let's hope it pops.
Active on Twitter as well under Nurse Kim. Nurse Kim. You can look her up. Yeah. All right, everybody, we're gonna get out of here. I appreciate everybody for giving back. Oh, by the way, we're gonna give $80 to Karen Reed's defense fund tonight. What I'll do is I'll make the donation. I screen grab, and you know where I post it. I post it on Facebook, and I post it in my YouTube community post. So you see the receipt there. $80 for Karen Reed's Defense Fund. Thank you all so much for donations. Bodega Lady, reach out to me. Let's get this free Karen Reed hat out to you. Love both of you. Love everybody in this chat room. Make sure to smash that like button on the way out. And if it's your first time over here, make sure to subscribe and fucking comment down below because YouTube likes, and comments. Let's get this stream out in the evil algorithm. I love you all. We're out of here. Have a good night. Peace.